Federal employees, for you, when is the best time to retire? What date specifically in the year is the best date to retire? Because when in the month, when in the year, when in the pay period you retire makes a difference in how your benefits are paid out in retirement. So if you want to know how to get the most out of all of your benefits, you're in the right spot. Let's talk about it. Now, I understand, especially 2025, many people are going out on DRP, the Deferred Resignation Program, where you are on administrative leave until certain dates, whether 9/30, 12/31. And long story short, if you're on one of those, this decision is basically made for you. If you're on administrative leave till 9/30, just retire 9/30, right? If you're on administrative leave until 12/31, retire 12/31. That for you, because you're going to get paid up to that point. If you retire before it, it just doesn't make any sense because might as well get paid. So long story short, it's very easy for you if you are on a DRP, just retire at the end of your administrative leave like everybody else. It's going to be a big surge, but that's okay. Okay, that is the best for you. But for those that are not on a DRP this year, what are the things to consider? Let's look at them. Number one, money. Now, one of the biggest things to think about when it comes to retirement is, can you afford to? Because I don't care, even if you retire the perfect date in the year, if you can't afford to retire yet, that was a bad choice, okay? So the first decision, the first thing to figure out before thinking about the exact date in the year to retire is, can you afford to? Is your pension going to be healthy enough? How's your TSP doing? How about Social Security? How about the supplement? Have you looked at all those things? Do they add up to enough where you are going to be comfortable? Hopefully that's the first thing you've done. Once you figured that out, once you say, okay, yes, I can afford to retire, then we can try to optimize things within the year. Let's talk about it. Number one, why is it, outside of course 2025 is an anomaly for lots of reasons, but outside of this year, it's a very common, and this year I guess as well, it's very common though for a lot of people to retire at the end of the year, 12/31. Why is that so common? And this is why. It's annual leave. Annual leave. If you didn't know, you are paid out a lump sum for any annual leave you have unused at retirement. So if you have 100 hours of unused annual leave, then they will cut you a check for what you would have made had you actually worked those 100 hours. So if you've got a few hundred hours, then you can easily get tens of thousands of dollars in a payout at retirement, which that's great, right? So why does the end of the year matter? Well, obviously if you work into the next year, then you could only take so much annual leave with you. It's use or lose. Most of the time people have a cap of about 240 hours. Some have more depending on your position, but most can only take 240 hours into the next year. However, if you start the last year of your career with 240 hours, then you work the entire year, and at the end you end up with, let's say, 400 hours. That's totally okay as long as you retire before the end of the leave year. So you can get a really, really large payout for annual leave, which goes a long way in helping you get through those first few months when maybe it takes OPM a while to process your application, whatever it may be. It's nice to have that in retirement. So that is why it's so common to retire at the end of the year. Now, why is it so common to retire at the end of the month? Why does it matter? Well, this is why. Long story short, your pension is payable the month after you retire. Let me give you an example. Let's say you retire 12/31, like the example we were just talking about, 12/31. Your pension is payable the next month, January 1, the next day, basically. However, if you work an additional day, now you retire 1/1, so January 1st, you're still technically employed in January. Your pension isn't payable till February. So for the month of January, you're basically getting no salary except for day one, right? And you're not getting a pension for that month either. So generally speaking, you want to push your retirement date as close to the end of the month as reasonable for you so that you have as few days as possible where you don't get a salary for that time or a pension for that time. So that's the end of a month. Now, end of a pay period. Why does that matter? So this is the least important out of all of them, but it still is a factor. And let me explain. Let's say this is the pay period, right? Pay period is 2 weeks long. This is week 1, week 2. your leave, let's say you accrue, I'm going to just make this up, 8 hours of annual leave, okay, during a pay period. You do not accrue all of that time. Well, let me back up. You don't accrue it throughout the pay period. You accrue all of it at the end of the pay period. So if you retire in the middle of a pay period, you give up whatever leave you would have accrued for that last week. If you retire, though, at the end of a pay period, then you actually get that accrued leave. It accrues, right? You get it, which is nice. So we're only talking a handful of hours here. It's not a big deal either way, but if you can pick, and you can, might as well pick the end of a pay period or close to it. Now, not every year. So, for example, 12/31, the end of the year, does not always line up with the end of the pay period. It just doesn't. The leave year sometimes ends in January, which most of the time it does end into January. So, again, if you can't get the exact end of the pay period, it's not the end of the world. Just know those last few days or whatever it is that you work into a pay period, you're just not going to accrue any leave for those last days, okay? So those are the biggest financial things when it comes to your benefits to worry about. But honestly, one thing that I don't have it written down is, when do you want to retire? That's the last and one of the most important things. What's your preference, right? Some people say, look, I want to retire at the end of fire season if they're a firefighter. Or so there's something maybe about the flow of your job that you want to retire at a certain time. That's a factor as well. Or maybe you want to go skiing once you retire. So make sure you retire before ski season, right? Whatever it may be. Those are some factors as well that you want to definitely consider. So hopefully this gives you a sense of what to think about when picking a retirement date. Hope it's helpful. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.